Have you ever overbought your seeds during the seed buying phase of the gardening year? When you're shopping online, it's pretty easy to just keep adding everything to your cart. I have a plan this year to keep me focused and get the most efficient use out of our garden space that I can. Make sure that you stay tuned until the end because I'm going to be sharing my tips and tricks with you on how you can do the same. Overbuying seeds is so easy to do, but it can cause some real issues in your garden. You could buy some seeds that just because the picture of the vegetable looks really pretty, but come to find out it's kind of gross and your family does not like it. That's a problem that we've ran into before. Last year we had 8 different zucchini plants, and while we like zucchini from time to time, our family does not eat a lot of zucchini. 8 zucchini plants was way too much. We don't even know if we're gonna have one this year just because of the amount of space that they take up. Another trap that you can fall into is buying something that just doesn't grow well in your area. Sometimes if you're right on the gardening zone line, we're 5B, 6A right in there. We really have to watch it with a few certain things because even though if it says we could grow it in 6A, we still might be way too cool to actually get a harvest from certain vegetables. Another issue that I've had in the past, especially last year, was growing too many varieties at once to even really keep track of or keep up with. I had whole flats of broccoli, 2 different varieties of cabbage, kale, spinach. Those are certain items that our family personally just doesn't get that bang for our buck as we do with other items that we know are wonderful, prolific growers. I could have spent way more time and energy focusing on growing, say, something like more onions for our family, which we love and eat pretty much every day, instead of all the energy on the broccoli, the cabbage, and the dark leafy greens, which we don't touch as often. One of the best harvests that we get every year from vegetables are green beans. We're growing 2 kinds this year, the Jade and the Contender. Last year we grew this Contender variety from Baker Creek and it was amazing. Every year I'm always very grateful for all of the vegetables that we get, but the green beans by the end of the year, I was like, oh no, I don't want to go out and pick them again because we've had so many green beans, but they freeze really well. You can pressure can them. They are very easy to store up and cook up really well. It's great to have them in the winter time for soups. We are still enjoying green beans from our garden last year that we had in our freezer. We did grow Jade green beans last year too, not from Baker Creek. I think it was one that I just picked up at our local farm store, but they did really well for us too. So when I placed our Baker Creek order, I just went ahead and picked up a few Jade packets as well. We have very compact clay soil. It is super, super tough, and we are doing the back to Eden gardening method with the wood chips, and Ben has been out there shoveling wheelbarrows full every day. I'm very thankful for him just to get it as thick as we can. We know in a couple years we will have super nice fluffy soil, and we've got a little bit now, and the next few years it'll just keep getting more and more for us. So this vegetable did fairly well for us. Carrots. Our family loves carrots. Our girls love carrots. We like them fresh. We like them cooked. We got the new Kuroda carrots and the Danvers 126 half long. We grew the Danvers last year and we weren't expecting much because, like I said, we have clay soil. We don't have a broad fork or anything, so we put them in there to see what would happen, and the Danvers did great. We got the new Kurodas as well because they are also a shorter, fatter, thicker carrot. So we're thinking that that's because the types we grew last year, they were able to grow better in the thicker, compact soil that we have. So we're hopeful that we will get an even bigger carrot harvest this year to be able to store more over the winter. Besides the green beans, the best vegetable that grew in our garden were our pickling cucumbers. It was overwhelming. I was making pickles almost every single day. Very vinegar smell in the summertime, but it's great because we still have jars and jars of pickles. We got Boston pickling cucumbers. Last year from Baker Creek, the ones that grew very well for us were the Chicago pickling cucumbers. I just did not see them available on their website this year, but they had the Boston ones, and that's pretty much what the Chicago ones looked like, so we are gonna give these a try. And if they don't do as well, I still will probably have pickles from last year, so that's okay. We also got these fresh eating cucumbers that I'm not going to attempt to say because I will get it really wrong. We grew, I think they were the Macklemore cucumbers last year, and I'm not a big fan of just the regular standard cucumbers, but these appeared to be more like an English cucumber that I would get at the grocery store, and I really enjoy those. So hopefully these will do well for us too. I grew these yellow of Parma onions from Baker Creek last year, and they were absolutely wonderful. I like to grow them in sets of about 5 or 6, so then I can just transplant the whole cell into the onion. Make sure you keep them mulched up, and they grow really good, big size onions. They just grow away from each other. I don't have the time to sit there and plant each individual onion hair. Maybe someday I will, but not anytime soon. So this is a great way for our family to grow a lot of onions at once and not have to put in as much time and effort. The yellow of Parma ones are long day onions. They are fantastic storage onions, and that is wonderful for our family. One of our goals is to try and grow enough onions to last us through the next winter here. I did also pick up, I kind of mangled it a little, some green bunching onions. I love green onions. Everyone in our family loves green onions, so these are just for fresh eating. And it's open because I did try starting some outside already. I'm cold sowing them in some milk jugs. So hopefully some of those will pop up early, but I'll probably start some inside too, or maybe just wait till the spring so we could have some fresh ones out there to eat. We have a DIY trellis video. Ben built these wonderful cattle panel trellises mainly for all of our tomatoes. With the indeterminate tomato varieties that we've grown in the past, they never really put out as many as you think that they would or should. We always have issues with blight. So this year, one of the biggest things that we've decided to do is to go with one main variety of tomato, the Roma. So the Roma is a determinate tomato, so we will not be able to use our wonderful trellises for the tomatoes this year, but we do have plans for the trellises. We've got cucumbers and another really special, exciting new item that we're growing this year that I will get to. We had 3 Roma plants last year, and they did amazing. We wished we would have done 23 Roma plants instead of just the 3. So instead of focusing on all these other varieties, hopefully we're saying our prayers and these will give us what we would like to get from them. One of the fun varieties that we are going to try is a little tiny spoon tomato. When you order certain amounts from Baker Creek, they'll throw in a free seed here and there, and the oldest toddler saw these, that they all fit on a spoon and they're so teeny tiny, so hopefully these will come up too, and we'll keep both of our girls very occupied in the garden while I'm weeding and doing all the other things. This is a very well-loved jalapeno seed packet. I've had this exact seed packet for 3 years from Baker Creek. These guys produce like crazy for us. This is a very good variety. It has jalapeno spice, but it's not as spicy. We're not afraid of the spiciness, but just with having the little girls around and stuff, I didn't want to do anything that would shock them too hard if they accidentally got into one. So these are a really good jalapeno variety to try out. So for the bell pepper varieties, the ones that did not grow for us at all last year were the King of the North, which I was really excited for because we can be a bit of a colder climate, and those are supposed to do well in the colder climates, and they did not do well for us. And we also just tried a general bull nose. I had 12 of each of the peppers, and they all just pittered out on me. So this year we are trying the Ozark Giants. I went with just 1 bell pepper to keep it easy. If I only get a few, they're supposed to be larger, trying to get more bang for my buck here. Another one, an Orange Sun sweet pepper from Botanical Interest. This would probably be a good fresh eating one for us. If I can grow enough of these to freeze too, that would be wonderful, but I'm sure the girls will love a good orange fresh pepper. This is my fun pepper for this year, a Shishito. I have heard wonderful things about these, that they are totally delicious. I did get these seeds at the end of last season actually. That's with the seed buying. you're in the middle of garden season and you get an email and you're like, sure, I'll look. And you're like, well, that all looks great. So let's just order some now. So I did plant some of these last year. I planted them way too late. I can't remember for sure, but I don't think they even ended up sprouting. I only tried a few so I could save seeds for this year. So hopefully we'll be able to get some Shishitos too. Oh, another seed that we ordered a bit later in the year last year that we did plant, but we just never got anything out of because we planted it way too late, were some black turtle beans. Our green beans do so well that later in the season we decided that we should probably grow some dried beans because we love dried beans, especially black beans. We probably will try and fit some of these in somewhere. We're just not 100% sure yet on the black turtle beans. Some Silver Queen corn. The Silver Queen is always a variety that I've loved growing up. My mom always loved it, so I have a very special place in my heart for the Silver Queen corn. So we'll see what time looks like and space available and see if we can fit this into our garden this year. Besides all these, I am only growing 2 other new vegetable, sort of vegetable, and a fruit item. One of those is strawberries. We know that strawberries grow very well around us where we live. We have friends that have the most beautiful strawberry patch, and I was lucky enough to get invited to come harvest some of their strawberries, and they were the most delicious strawberries that I've ever had in my life. They were amazing. We were placing our seed order, decided just to look to see if Baker Creek had strawberry seeds, and they did. So we decided to just pick some up. I've got some started indoors here already and just give them a try. After we had placed our seed order, Ben had mentioned how unfortunate it was that I forgot to add this one specific item to our cart that I have wanted to grow for a very, very long time. So I decided to go back and order it with a few herbs that I had forgotten, of course. And that is a Luffa gourd. So I told him thank you because all of those wonderful cattle panel trellises that he has built for us that we aren't going to use with indeterminate tomatoes this year will now get used up by my awesome loofahs, and hopefully they will grow well for us. They do need a really long growing season and really hot weather. I am very excited for these guys. So my biggest tips for buying your seeds this year are grow what you and your family eat. It makes it so much easier. It makes you want to go into that garden more, to go pull weeds and prune when it's something that you know is going to get gobbled up as soon as you harvest it and bring it inside. Also, growing things that store for a long time. Items that you can freeze and enjoy in those cold winter months. Items that you can and have on your shelves just for the convenience and that security of knowing that you are good to go and you've got stuff up there that's nice and healthy that you grew for your family. And my biggest tip is to only stick to 2, maybe 3 new vegetables each year. It'll really help you with being overwhelmed and getting frustrated and leaving you lots of extra time to get out there and enjoy your garden. And we're going to be growing more than just vegetables this year too. I'm going to be doing another seed haul video with all of our flowers and herbs that we're going to be growing in our garden, and Ben's going to show you our DIY 3-tier grow light setup that he's built for us inside. Both the videos will appear on the screen here after they've been filmed. Thank you for watching, and remember to live free and find your purpose.
I'm doing seeds.
What are you doing?
Seeds.